ESPN 1420 and ESPN1420.com. It's Friday. And we welcome you to the Friday edition of Bird's Eye View. I'm Jay Walker, and, there are stories. I mean, World Cup is going on right now, and Spain and the Netherlands are playing. And, just crazy over at the U.S. Open where, you got a guy just running away with the thing. He's got like an 8-shot lead in the second round. It's Martin Cantor from Germany. But we're going to talk about baseball instead. Ragin Cajun baseball coach Tony Robichaux joins us here on the show this afternoon. You and I haven't really had a chance to talk since that last ball game. I don't like. I want to go on record as saying I don't like this stuff where you got to go to the interview room and I don't get to see you.
Yeah.
We need to get that changed. I'm just saying. Monday was what it was. It was. I know it was disappointing. I think it was disappointing for everyone. Just a bad night to give up 11 free base runners. I mean, you do that in February, nobody cares. You do it in the middle of June, and it gets magnified that much more. So you didn't get to end the season where you wanted to, and I get that. And I think for you, for your coaching staff, for your players, for the fans, I think it's taken a little while. But I saw a guy who's a fan. He tweets me all the time, and he made a Facebook post, and he said, "I'll tell you why I'm hurting." He said, "I'm hurting for them," because he watched how hard you and your team worked. And it wasn't so much for him as a fan, but it was for your players and the coaching staff. And I think that's what pained him the most, because they know the sweat equity you put into this.
Well, you put in so much, you pour your whole heart and soul into something, and every fiber in your body wants to get to this certain point, and you turn back, and that's what hurts the most. And some years you have teams where half the team cares, the other ones is just there, and coaches will tell you this all the time. Every year it's a different story, a different team, and to have every man in that locker room really, really care about what we were doing and invest in the time and the effort that they put in. It's why we accomplished what we accomplished. To get turned back, especially after winning the first game, it hurts. I can't tell you how much it does. And, we feel, especially with some of these guys, that it's like losing almost a child in this situation. They are all leaving, and you feel for them because you watched how much they put into this. But it is what it is. We went through it one other time, and neither one of them feel any better. To know that you're one game away from a dream that you had when you were little, and every coach has the same dream. I mean, even though the kids have the dream of getting to Omaha, the coaches do too. And I feel the same way that gentleman does. I've gotten the opportunity to go to the old stadium, the old Rosenblatt, but to get the rest of these kids there. And they gave so much to be able to get there. We just didn't get it done when we needed to get it done. And that's the end of the day.
I guess there's going to come a time, and it's going to be sooner rather than later, when you and everybody else is going to sit back and they're going to go, "Holy cow, this team went 58-10," and I still have a tough time wrapping my arms around that, and I have all season long. I had to join you a little bit late this year because basketball had so much success. But as the wins kept piling up, you go out, you work every day. You go out with this team, you work every day, you come to the ballpark, you go out, you play, you win. And I go out to the ballpark every day and I broadcast a game and you win. And it's not till it's over with that you go, doggone it, this team won 58 freaking games. That is, we may never pass that way again. You might have a team that puts together some magic, and you may wind up at TD Ameritrade Park before your career's over. I don't know if you're ever going to win 58 again.
That was an accomplishment that's so hard to do. I mean, when you think about they lost opening day and then lost their last two, so that gives them 7, for the season. And that's unbelievable. But, that's what passion can do. I mean, is it logical to do something like that? But we've tried to tell them all the time, that passion outdoes logic, and we got a group of guys together that really played with passion and really, back the name that's across that chest night in and night out. And that's what hurts the most, is that they did everything that, we needed to do. We had an opportunity of a lifetime, but you have to act on it in the lifetime of the opportunity. And we just didn't. We had 2 games to get one, and we didn't do it. So, it is what it is, but it does hurt, and it'll take a long time. And I don't know if you ever get over something like that, really.
You lost to a very good ball club. Mm-hmm. I think that there are people that, and I'm not talking about people who, just went to the ballpark and saw that you faced a really good club. I'm talking about people who know college baseball. They believe that Ole Miss can go there and win that thing. And I think had you won, they would have been saying the same thing about your club. There are some good teams in Omaha. They are one of them. They're an awfully good club.
Well, that's what hurts also, is that, you can get there and know that, man, the field, not to be disrespectful to anybody, but your own team, that you can get there and then, maybe you can, stay there for a while, but you don't know if you can maybe win the whole thing, and then there's a time where, you think that you have a chance. But, to utter those words, you have to be able to finish when it's time to finish, and we didn't. But we did bow out, not because we didn't try, not because we didn't care, and surely not because our opponent wasn't any good. And so that's at least some, solitude for us that because boy, when you look back and you realize you didn't get there because you didn't care, to me that you never get over that feeling.
This is, I guess, one of the tough things is, like you said, you may have another team that gets there. You may have another team that, has a terrific season, but you're never going to coach this team again. And 29 years of coaching, I'm going to put words in your mouth, and you're probably not going to argue with me. That's probably the most special group of kids you've ever had.
Well, there's no doubt, and that's the biggest challenge, because as a coach, even corporate America, with all the guest speakers they bring in, all the money they spend for self-improvement, the one thing you all fight for is team chemistry, and each person really understanding true leadership, because in this business, so many players are hooked on their statistics, but to walk in and give up to go up and watch your team, after breakfast in the morning, make sure they don't eat until they say grace, and to pull all the trash cans when everybody's finished eating and get the trash out to the trash can. The things that they did, it's just unbelievable, because you fight for that. It's so hard to get that in this sport, because a guy don't really want to bunt, or a guy really don't want to do this, or a guy really don't accept this. And, all the way back to Matt Hicks going 81 pitches for us and giving up his back, and then to watch him and his dad go play catch for the last time on the field. I don't know if you saw that, but that's the whole thing about this team, I think, that hurts the most, is that they gave up so much, they sacrificed so much, but that's also why they accomplished what they accomplished, and why they'll go down in history too. I told them in the locker room in our last meeting, the next day after we gave them a day off, is that, in sport you can be defined, and we're not going to, try to define you as a team that didn't get to Omaha. We're going to try to define you as what you really accomplished. And we feel that we need to do that for them, because of the amount of hard work and effort that they put in to get the national recognition to our university as they did, and to do it with class and integrity and everything else along the way. You
have said many times, and this is a drum that you've beaten for a few years now, you talked about what it's like with the fan base that you have, and you've talked about you can go sell peanuts, but you don't have the peanut man, and you can have this, but you don't have this. In other words, it's the people here. And if there's ever been a time where that got personified, it was over the weekend, when you've got folks on national television calling it the best atmosphere in college baseball.
Yes.
That's a commercial you're never going to get again. I mean, seriously.
No.
And the university can't write a check big enough to cover what the people at ESPN and ESPNU had to say about the atmosphere and the crowd and the fans that packed into Teague Moore Field the last 2 weekends.
Oh, there's no doubt. It really was. It put our culture our university and our people on display is what it did. And, the whole United States now sees and knows, and what an honor when somebody utters the word, you're the best at something, and there's a lot of good atmospheres out there, believe me, and to say that this is the best. But and that's another thing that I'm so proud of our players about, is that the reason we have that atmosphere, and I think the reason the fans came out, is because those players truly cared about our fans. And some players just play to play, and some players just play for themselves. But this bunch of guys really, cared about our fan base, and really, I think if you talk to them, I think they'll tell you the most down they are is not because they didn't make it, because they didn't get our fans there.
And the biggest thing about your fans is because they didn't get there. I guess you guys wound up with a relationship with each other as well as within the team and within the fan base.
No doubt. I mean, I think, I think we promoted them. They promoted us. Another saying is they had our back, we had their back, and it was a great relationship, because those relationships aren't easy to get because you're not talking to them, you're not seeing them every day. I mean, you're doing this really by word of mouth, and we tell our players that all the time. Our business is word of mouth business. It's like going to see a good movie. When you leave, you're going to tell 8 to 10 people about that movie, and so. The guy that paid $1,000 for those box seats or $1,500 for those season tickets, we owe it to him to run that fly ball out. I mean, we owe it to him to play hard and run hard, because at the end of the day, they can go anywhere and see somebody jog or quit or throw a helmet back to the backstop. But it's hard to find that movie where you see that kind of sharing and that kind of team unity. And so that's the biggest challenge with this whole thing, is that they really had something special in the clubhouse, and it spilled over onto the field.
A great season usually means great things after the season is over for some individuals, and the Cajuns winding up with the most players in the Major League draft than they've ever had. We're going to talk a little bit about that, talk about a couple of guys who are still up for some national awards, and we'll find out, who's staying, who's not. It's the Tony Robichaux is with me. I'm Jay Walker. This is Bird's Eye View, back with the coach after this on ESPN 1420.